Hello, my name is Chris. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm a minimalist who sold my two-wheel motorcycle, a KTM 890 Adventure, and my car, a Hyundai Kona. I sold those two vehicles and I purchased a Can-Am Spyder, a reverse tricycle. I did that about 7 or 8 months ago, and I started a YouTube channel to chronicle my adventures. I'm giving you a little background. By the way, we are riding along the Niagara River, the upper Niagara River, as it heads to its doom, crashing over Niagara Falls. I mentioned that as way of background because some of you may be new to the channel and not really into the Can-Am Spyder, because this video is about motovlogging. So I started motovlogging 8 months ago. I was new to everything. New to the audio and the video and the GoPro and all the rest of it. Chin mounts, and was new to YouTube. I'd never really been a YouTube guy. And I've had a number of people mention to me that they like the audio, they like the video, they like, you know, various components of my channel. And I thought, I've gotten enough questions on my audio and various parts of the channel that I ought to shoot a video on my motovlog setup, and that's what this video is all about. I'm going to walk you through basically soup to nuts from beginning to end as to how I put this together. Many of you may have no interest in starting a YouTube channel, but you might want to chronicle your adventures, your journeys. The other thing is, many of you who don't want to start a YouTube channel, but you might want to get a better understanding of how this comes together, because it's not as simple as just shooting a video on a camcorder-like device, kind of like you shoot video with your iPhone and then simply downloading it very easily to YouTube and there you go. It's much more complex than that. And so some of you might want to get a better understanding of how this all comes together on the various motovlogs that you watch. We're now entering Niagara Falls State Park. We're heading over the bridge that takes us over the upper rapids, and there they are. We're looking west towards the Canadian skyline. You can see the Skyline Tower, and now we're looking east. But anyway, I hope that what you're about to see helps those of you who are interested in starting a channel. I hope it helps you do that. And those of you who are just here to get a better understanding of how this all comes together, I hope it helps you as well. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, it all starts with the helmet. So this is my primary riding helmet. This is a Scorpion EXO AT50, I believe the model number is. What's really important is this right here. So this is a product that mounts my camera onto the helmet, and this one is manufactured by a group called Chin Mounts. You can find them online. There are others, and I'm sure they're all based on the same concept. They basically buy one of each model helmet that there is in existence, and they use 3D printing to print this out. It's a very lightweight thing, but it works very well. When I install this, they recommend that you use a hairdryer to heat up the 3M adhesive tape that holds it to the helmet. I don't have a hairdryer, so I didn't do that. And I really worried that that would mean that it wouldn't work. It worked. I mean, it holds. When the first time I rode with this, my first video, I was actually really self-conscious about my camera falling from the chin. That was back on months ago, and it's holding strong. So I guess my point is, if you've got a hairdryer, certainly use it, but this thing holds very well. And the chin of this helmet is fairly complex. There's a lot of like weaves and ins and outs and nooks and crannies that it's fitted onto, and yet it still holds. Now, what I like about the chin mount is, if you watch my motovlogs, the viewer of my channel gets my view. Sort of. So my eye line is about 6 inches right here higher than where my camera's mounted, but it's still essentially like when you watch my videos and so many other videos, motovlogs, it's like you're the rider. There are other
motovloggers that have other cameras, camera angles on top of the helmet, on the side of the helmet. Some of them aren't even on the helmet, they're on the motorcycle, and that's okay. At some point, right now I only use one camera. At some point I might add another camera from another angle, but right now I'm loving this. I'm loving the simplicity of one camera. I like the view for the viewer of riding the motorcycle along with me, not as a passenger, but literally as the rider. So I like that chin mount. So obviously for a motovlog where you're recording video, the camera's pretty important. So I bought this camera. This is a GoPro 10. I think it's actually called a GoPro Hero 10. I bought this as the GoPro Hero 12 was already out, so this was like a couple of generations behind. I did that because these new features that these cameras have are so far above my level of photographic understanding that it was immaterial to me. So I bought this one and got a good price for it. I love it. There was a learning curve. For instance, when I bought this from GoPro, I bought this and a couple of accessories. I bought ND filters, and we'll get into those. I bought the media mod, which is on this, and I'll explain that. But what I didn't buy was an SD card. They didn't offer it. It was shocking to me when I learned that I needed an SD card, that as I was checking out on the GoPro website, something wasn't flashing saying, "Are you sure you don't want an SD card?" There was nothing like that. I was getting frustrated when I was setting this up, and I called some 1-800 number and talked to some kid on the phone, and he explained to me I needed an SD card. I ran to Target, didn't even know what an SD card was. In fact, it's a micro SD card is what I needed. Didn't even know what that was, but there was a kid at Target, thankfully, that was familiar with GoPro, bought the SD card. But anyway, this is my camera, and what I'm going to do is show you how it mounts onto the chin mount. Okay, so when you buy the camera, I believe it's been like 7 or 8 months, but it comes with some mounts. But the other thing is, when you buy the chin mount, this gives you an option to buy like an accessory pack. And I actually, over the past 6 months or so, have bought a couple of those accessory packs because they come with a lot of different things that connect the GoPro to the chin mount. And so this is basically two different things. Actually, it's 3 different things. So this is one piece here. This is another piece here that clips onto the chin mount, and I'll show you that in a moment. And this is a screw that basically ties the two together. So basically, you take this, you put it there, and you just snap it in like that. So now you take your GoPro camera, which has a couple of little feet at the bottom, right there. You pull the feet out. I use the Allen wrench that they provide. And by the way, when you buy those chin mount accessory packs, it comes with a couple of other things that you could use, like an extra screw, and I'll show you how this works, and an Allen wrench. But anyway, this just slides right here, just like that. You put the screw in right here, and then you tighten it up with the Allen wrench. And I'm not going to do that right now, and I'll explain why in a moment. But it's as simple as that to mount it to the chin mount. There are an abundance of different options you have if you buy different accessory packs that have different extensions and whatnot. I learned early on, I ran out of battery juice on my first ride. This was my first, I bought my motorcycle, my Can-Am Spyder, on March 13th of 2024, and my GoPro camera arrived the day prior. So I didn't have a long learning curve for my first motovlog, and I ran out of battery juice because of that. And I ran out of battery juice because I couldn't see, I'm going to turn this GoPro camera on right now. There's a little red light that blinks. I'm going to turn the camera on. So the camera's on right now, but it's not recording. I'm going to start recording right now, and you'll notice there's a red blinking light right here. So it's important that I would love to have the camera mounted so I could see this. Now, you can see what you're seeing sort of with the Quick app, which is the GoPro app, but there's some complications, and I'm a simple guy, so I don't even use that. But I want to see, I'm going to shut it off. I want to see that blinking light, because when that's blinking, I know I'm recording, and if it's not, I know I have a problem. So just consider that when you're mounting this thing. So a lot of people have commented favorably on my audio, and I want to explain the Media Mod accessory that I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to just open this up. This slides open. This is the GoPro camera, and this is the GoPro battery. The SD card is, I don't know if you can see it, but it's right next to the GoPro battery right there. In fact, I'm going to just pull this out just to show you. So that's the battery, and the SD card is right there. You kind of push down to pop it out. You can see it right there, and then you pull it out like that, and then to put it back in, just snaps in there, and the battery goes back in. But this comes with standard with a little plastic door that just kind of closes over this. I've got that in one of my kits in case I ever need it. But the other thing is, I'll mention this little slot right there is where you use this charger to charge up the battery. I guess you could sync it to your computer as well. I don't do that, but it's basically USB to USB-C, as you can see. But believe it or not, the GoPro has a microphone that's part of it, but the problem is the camera is outside of my helmet. So when I'm talking inside of a full-face helmet, the GoPro can barely hear what I'm saying, especially because of wind noise, hence the need for an external mic. And I'll get to that in a minute, but this is my external mic. This is the plug for the external mic. There is nowhere on this camera to plug in a microphone. And that is shocking to me. GoPro, if you're listening, I know you've been making these for years, for a decade, more than that, but it's shocking to me that you haven't figured out how to put an accessory mic port into this thing. But that's why you need this Media Mod. So the way the Media Mod works is you unclip the door that comes standard, the plastic door, to enclose and seal up the battery. And instead of that door, you use this device here. And I'll kind of just give you a little, you can see it's got a button here, it's got a button here that snap over the actual buttons. It's got a door here for the feed of the camera. And you just take this, take the camera, you slide it in like that, you close the door, and there you go. Now, I plug in my microphone. There are 3 ports here. I only use one, the one at the bottom. I plug in my external mic right there. And that's how I get audio, and I get pretty good audio. So let's talk about the mic. So like many of you, before I started my YouTube channel, I did a little homework on some of this, and I came across a company called Purple Panda Mics. And I went ahead and ordered their kit. And their kit comes with the microphone plus some accessories. It comes with a nice little pouch, and it's really inexpensive. I want to say I spent $20 or so on it, and it's been working just like a charm. So what it comes with is the microphone itself. It comes with one of these little clips. In fact, it might come with an extra one of those clips if I recall, but I got a couple of extras because of those chin mount accessories that I bought. But it comes with, you can't plug in, there's a couple of different kind of audio ports that are out there, and if you try to plug this into the GoPro, it won't work. But they provide you with, Purple Panda provides you with this accessory, and you just plug that in, and this is what plugs into Purple Panda. If I was an audio expert, I'd get into the detail, but I'm not. One of the things I don't like is, and by the way, this here is not the standard, I want to call it a windsock, but that's not the appropriate name. This basically muffles the wind noise and whatnot. There's a standard black little, well, kind of like my lav mic that I'm wearing here. This comes with it as well, but because I'm doing a motovlog and there's wind noise even within my helmet, I use this and it works like a charm. One of the issues I have with this though is this cord on this microphone is way too long. I only need the cord to go from the microphone, which is going to be inside my helmet, and I'll show you that in a minute, to the GoPro camera. So 6-8 inches. This thing goes, I mean, this is so long, this could probably wrap around the circumference of the earth. And so I have it all bunched up, tied around with one of the Velcro ties, and I mounted that on day one. I haven't unmounted it since, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it even for demonstrative purposes for you because it works, and my fear is I'll jinx something. So what I have this mounted onto is the helmet's chin curtain. Now, I never used chin curtains before. They mount into the helmet, and I'm going to show you how in a moment. And I didn't use it for my Scorpion EXO helmet. And then when I started the Motovlog, because I had the helmet long before I started the Motovlog, I thought, oh my gosh, maybe that's where I mount the Purple Panda mic, and that's what I do. So I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so basically, the other thing I'll show you is my helmet has a very cheap Sena. I think I paid $99 for an intercom system, so I've got the speakers in the ears, and I've got this great microphone mounted here that's flexible and whatnot. I cannot figure out a way to use this microphone for the Motovlogs. If someone knows a way to do that, please tell me. I'd love to do that. But instead, I use the Purple Panda mic, and the chin curtain just snaps into the helmet just like this. Oh, I'm sorry, like this. I want the microphone inside the helmet, not dangling outside the helmet. Hear that little snap? It's as simple as that. So now when I'm riding, the microphone is, when the helmet's closed, the microphone is just right at my mouth. And that's how I get such crisp audio. So basically, I mount the camera, I then plug in this into the back of the media mod that I just showed you, and that's how I get the great audio. So when I was doing homework on the GoPro, I learned about something called ND filters. And ND filters are basically like sunglasses for your camera. So the GoPro comes with a lens like this that comes right off, just like this. See how easy that was? And an ND filter is the same, shaped the same way as this, the clear camera lens, but it's got this tint, like sunglasses. And I've got 3 of them, so this one here is an ND16, and then I've also got an ND32 and an ND8. And I use them, and I'll explain why, but I use them depending on how bright it is outside. So if I'm going to shoot at night, if I'm going to shoot, and I don't do much riding at night, but if I'm going to shoot on a day that's really overcast, let's say, or it's raining out, I'm going to use that. If it's a cloudy day, but it's bright out, then I'm going to use the ND8. And if it's very, very bright and brilliant sunshine, no clouds and whatnot, I'll use the ND32. And the reason I have to use the ND filters is because of the settings that I use on the GoPro, and I'm going to get into that now. So I'm going to turn the camera back on. I'm going to try to position this so that you can see it and that I can see it, and there's not going to be too much glare, but the settings on this GoPro are incredibly sophisticated, way above my level of understanding. So I'm not going to get into all of the settings. However, if you can see at the bottom here, it says 4K 60W. So the 4K stands for 4K video, obviously. The 60 is 60 frames per second, and wide is one of many choices you have on the angle. There's ultra wide, there's various ones. Anyway, these are the settings that I use, and it's because of, I believe, the 60 frames per setting that's much faster than 30 frames per setting, that because I'm using that, if I don't use the ND filters, I'm going to get washed out video. And again, I wish I was an expert on any of this, that like I could dive into the, you know, physics of it. I just can't do that. But that's the setting that I use, and my Motovlogs, they come out pretty well. I'd love to hear from folks who use different settings. And so I get home from shooting video, then what do? Well, I take my camera, I open it up as I showed you earlier, pull the battery out, and get the SD filter. And again, the SD filter is essentially like film. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but think of film for your camera. All of my photos are now in this. The problem is, how do you get, not the problem, but the challenge is, how do you get the photos from the video from the SD card to your computer, or I edit on an iPad. I'm a minimalist, I don't have a computer, I've got 2 devices basically, my iPhone and my iPad, and there's no slots in the iPad. This is an iPad Pro. How do I get the video from the SD card to the iPad? Well, I bought this when I bought my iPad Pro. I bought this adapter. The SD card goes into the adapter, there's no photos on this, so I'm not going to actually plug it in, but I plug it in here, open up my Photos app, and download from the SD card to my Photos app on my iPad. And then when I started my Motovlog, I used iMovie and to edit video, and that really worked out well. And then they came out with Final Cut Pro for the iPad, and I was told it's much easier, it's much better to use, and there are more capabilities. So that's what I do. I edit my video with Final Cut Pro. I will tell you that it is definitely way more sophisticated than I am, and I'm probably only using 5% of its potential. But basically, I hit new project, I would type in a name if I wanted to, I'd hit continue, I'd hit photos. I can now download photos from my photo library, and I start editing from there.
I hope that was helpful to you. I know it was not comprehensive, but as a minimalist, I like to keep my videos as tight as possible, and if it was going to be a comprehensive video going into like actually editing the video and uploading the uploading process for YouTube, this video would be much longer, and I don't want to do that. So I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you have any comments on anything that we talked about, please comment. If you're not a subscriber to my channel and you want to follow me on my adventures, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. But whether you subscribe or not, know that I really appreciate you watching my videos, and you have a great day. Signing off from Niagara Falls State Park in Niagara Falls, New York.